Alright. I have lots of medicine to make today. You're like, well, I'm only here to watch the one video, but I've made like 4 or 5 already today. But, you know, I like to just make these videos as I'm doing stuff. So, as you know, like, so you know, as you know, whatever, put in the right words there. These videos are fully made while I'm doing, meaning I'm not like planning this stuff out. There's not like super worried about production. My camera is like propped up on a hunting knife. You know, like it's just, because it works really well to hold it up, but still, like, this is just real life, real people, real medicine, reality. You don't gotta be super fancy to do any of this stuff, okay? So, I'm gonna show you how to make a catnip bloom elixir. Now, you might have already watched the tincture video, but maybe you haven't, so I'll just ramble again. So, here it is mid-August, and most catnip and any other mint, because catnip's in the mint family, is deep into blooming, and you're like, oh, I've missed my season. That's sad. All the leaves are looking kind of yellow, and you know, I can't go pluck this fresh from the ground spring medicine anymore because it's hot out, right? You haven't missed a season. You've just transitioned into a different one. So the season we are in now is the bloom season. So this is a catnip bloom. And a lot of people will tell you, I see all over the place, people say, oh, you can only use, you know, I only use the leaf in the spring. And I do prefer the leaf in the spring, but I find this is a different ally. It's the same plant, but she has different reactions. But kind of similar, meaning she's still going to help you with a headache, she's still going to help you with insomnia, she's still going to help you with sore muscles and mild pain relief and brutal cramps on your period. But what I really like the bloom for is calming yourself down from anxiety attacks. Now, catnip is good for that in general, but I feel like the bloom, she's more potent because she's full of way more volatile oils, which is what gives a plant that has a really strong smell, like anything in the mint family, its smell in the first place. And so I think she's fantastic. Now, catnip is good for anxiety in general, and I'd say that she's good for sudden anxiety, like a panic attack. Because, you know, there's a bit of a difference between having anxiety and a panic attack. And I think the bloom made into a tincture or an elixir is fantastic for the sudden, oh my god, I'm going to lose my shit, literally, or puke, whatever's happening, your mind is spiraling out of control. You know how that goes. She's fantastic for that. And you are definitely smart enough to do this. And if you are somebody or a loved one lives with anxiety, do this now while you're doing okay. You know, you're not trying to go out there and make these medicines in the middle of a breakdown. You want the stuff ready now. Same thing with being sick. Like, get out there and start making elderberry tinctures. Don't wait till you have the flu to try to find this medicine. You know, be the ant, not the grasshopper. So, we're just going to take a jar that we can fill up with our blooms. You don't need to cut her up. Usually you see me do that with plants to have more surface space. But blooms are really delicate. They're really, their cellular structure is really soft and permeable. So I don't really worry about it. I got a stem in there, I guess. So I'm going to put her just right in the jar. Woo, she's strong smelling. Set her to the side. So this is what your catnip is going to look like this time of year. She's putting all of her energy into these blooms, you see. And the leaves are okay. And so if you still have some green leaf, by all means use it. But if, you know, she's kind of looking a little sad in the leaf department, just go out and trim off her individual blooms. That's what I do. And so we're just going to put her right into the jar here. And make sure, again, that you're picking a jar that you can fill up all the way. Both with your vodka and your plant matter. But we're going to be adding, not that hair, we're going to be adding honey to this to make it an elixir. And that's really all an elixir is where we add honey. There are definitely some medicinal values to honey, but I really like to add her because she helps us get even more water-soluble properties. So, I know you've heard me say it a million times before, I use 100 proof vodka because, say it with me, she's 50% alcohol, 50% water. That's what 100 proof means. It's like divided in half. And that means we're getting not only our water-soluble properties out of this plant medicine, we're getting our alcohol-soluble properties out of this medicine, which makes her more well-rounded, more whole, more wholesome. She has all of her parts intact, not just the volatile ones that grain alcohol extracts. Grain alcohol is not referring to what the alcohol is made of, it's referring to the fact that it's 190 proof. Basically, anything over 100 proof is considered grain alcohol. Don't use anything over 100 proof. If you can't get 100 proof vodka, I guarantee you can get 80 proof vodka, and that works just as fine, so let it sit a little longer. So I'm going to dump about half of this bottle of vodka into my jar here. And it's important that you put the vodka in before the honey, because if you pour your honey in, I've got my raw honey here, if you pour your honey in and then try to pour the vodka over top of it, you're going to need something to really stir it, because the honey almost creates like a water permeable like layer, and it's a pain in the ass. So just put your vodka in first, and then you're going to dump in your honey. This is just probably a few cups worth, whatever I had left in the jar. And then I'm just going to put that in. You see how it's going down into it now, versus me trying to get the vodka to go into the honey. It's just easier this way. And you can see where that was almost half the volume of what I put in. And I like to use the honey. Not only does it make her taste really great, because she's going to pull out even more of the water-soluble properties, because honey has a really, really, really neat ability to extract medicinal properties from plants, just like vodka does. And so, yeah, a lot of people, they're like, oh, I had honey and it makes it taste real sweet, and that's why I make an elixir. Well, look into it some more, because an elixir is a little bit different, because she will have more water-soluble properties. Again, you can't give an elixir, I don't know why I said again, because I haven't talked about it, but you can't give an elixir to a child who's under 2, no matter what plant you're using, because of the honey. So be mindful of that. But she's pretty fantastic. I really like making elixirs, and it is that simple. So the only difference between this and normal tincture is that I've added honey to it. And then I'm just going to fill up the rest with vodka. There we go. And now I'm just going to cap her. And it's important that you fill it up pretty much all the way, because we don't want oxidation to occur. And oxidation is when alcohol is in our bottle, when water is in our, third time's a charm, when air, when air is in the bottle and it creates oxidation, kind of like, you know how when you peel a banana it goes brown, or you take a bite of an apple it goes brown, that's oxidation, and that will occur to your plant matter and your tincture, which is kind of like, it's not that it's going rotten or spoiled, but it's not quite as great for you. She's losing medicinal and content and things like that. So just fill it all the way up to the top. And that's why it's important to pick a jar that we can fill all the way to. So I'm going to put the correct cap on, because that's the old honey lid. Try that again. I'm just swinging and missing a bunch today, aren't I? That's okay. It's important that I allow myself to be human and not care if these videos don't turn out perfect. So now I've got her in there. I'm just going to give her a little bit of a shake. You're not going to be able to really shake that honey in for the first few days. You'll come back every week or so and shake your tinctures. You don't have to, and eventually it'll just dissolve into it. The alcohol will break down the honey. So the next thing I'm going to do is just fill out one of my labels that I created with these like Avery shipping label thingies. They're not like my sponsor or anything. I know I talk about them all the time. I just that's just what I grab, like a 10 or 20 pack, and I can create my own label with their program. Once you buy any of these Avery labels, they give you like a free label design program. And I just go in there and I put on there things like if it's a tincture, a honey, and oil infusion other, the date I began, if it's wildcraft from store-bought a mix, and then where I can write what I got on there, where I got it from. You can just use a piece of masking tape. Anything that's going to tell you what it is and when you started it is a good idea to do. Just a good practice to keep. So I'm going to mark that it's a tincture, catnip bloom, honey. And it's important too, because if you are making this stuff to give it to friends or family or even to sell, you need to know exactly what's going on there, and you need to label it that way too. That way if people have allergies, you know, they can see on the label if they have an allergy or if they have a reaction. You just need to know what's going on. Honey, 100 proof vodka. And if you are going to make batch numbers, if you are somebody who sells it, you need all this information to generate a batch number. But again, you could also just use a piece of masking tape. It doesn't have to be as complicated. It's just good practice. And then, I mean, it's like a good practice to keep. So, and then I got those from Spillway. Okay. And now I'm just going to slap this onto my jar. And then I'm going to sit it in a cool, dark place for 6 to 8 weeks. And I generally shake my tinctures about once a week. But, you know, after that time period, you might forget about it. It's okay. It's going to be good to go. What happens if we forget about this tincture? Nothing. Nothing happens. It doesn't go bad. It won't go bad. You're completely fine. And you've got your label on there like you should, so you'll know what it is. So even if 2 years go by and you're like, oh my god, I forgot all about that tincture I made. It's way back in there in the shelf behind all of my canned tomatoes or whatever. It's okay. You have it labeled so you know what it is. Because alcohol never goes bad and honey never goes bad. Isn't that cool? So that's how easy it is to make a catnip elixir, and I'm pretty sure you can handle that, right? You're definitely smart enough to put some plant matter, some fresh plant matter into a jar, some 100 proof vodka, and some honey, and put a label on it. You can handle this, okay? So, if you like my videos, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. That helps you know when I upload stuff, and that helps other people find me, which is really important because people need to know that they are smart enough to do this and to take this back into their own hands, and we can help them do that. And then comment and like, that way I know you're here, and it tells YouTube that my videos are worth being shown to other people. But mainly, I just like the encouragement. It's just, I like to not like feel like I am pushing myself for no reason, and it's super helpful when I'm like, hey, hi, how you doing? Interact with me. Come find me on Instagram. I talk there a lot too. And my website, all kinds of stuff that you can find by checking out the links here in my YouTube bio. So thank you for watching this quick little video, and I will see you next time, okay? Bye.